This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. 5 shot at a party in Greenville. Police were last night on the scene in Greenville, Manchester, where at least 5 people are said to have been shot. Unconfirmed reports suggest that the injured were among patrons at a party in the community. Greenville, an at-risk community, has been on the police's radar for months. In April, then head of the Manchester Police Superintendent Lloyd Darby had announced a restriction on entertainment events in Greenville and 5 other communities in Manchester. Man suspected of killing police constable charged. Detectives assigned to the Major Investigations Division, who have been probing the murder of one of their colleagues, Constable Jermaine Brown, made a breakthrough on Friday with the preferring of formal charges against one of the suspects. Charged is 19-year-old Giovanni Finlay, otherwise called Jojo, of Paul Mountain District, Kitson Town in St. Catherine, and the Pelican District, Discovery Bay in St. Anne. In addition to murder, Finlay will also answer to the charge of illegal possession of firearm. According to detectives, Finlay surfaced as a suspect in the case during several days of intense investigative work that followed the murder of Constable Brown on July 19. Finlay, who was on bail for a previous offense, was apprehended on Friday, July 29, when he appeared before the court. Finlay was charged for the murder of the policeman on Thursday, August 4, after he was positively pointed out on an identification parade. His court date is being finalized. Constable Brown, who was 31 years old, was brutally shot to death in Johnson Penn Spanish Town in St. Catherine. Brown reportedly went to the community in his private motorcar about 4:50 p.m. when gunmen attacked him and shot him several times. Alleged thieves mobbed and killed in Negril. 3 men, 2 of whom were alleged to be motorcycle thieves, were mobbed, chopped, and shot to death by Agro residents in Negril, Westmoreland on Thursday night. The victims have been identified as 43-year-old Devon Hendricks and 42-year-old Melcardo Daly, both of Salt Spring in Green Island, Hanover, and Nakia Young. Reports are that about 7 p.m., residents in Retrieve, Negril, were alerted to a group of alleged motorcycle robbers in their community. The residents armed themselves and intercepted a Toyota Corolla motorcar with 3 men on board. The men were chased and 2 of them were caught by the angry mob. They were chopped and shot to death. The 3rd occupant of the car, who reportedly sought refuge in a house in the community, was apprehended and handed over to the police. The motor car was then torched. When the police arrived at the location, they found one of the men lying in a pool of blood in proximity to the burnt-out vehicle with a gunshot and chop wounds. The second was discovered a short distance away with multiple chop wounds and his head bashed in. A further search led to the discovery of Young's body, which also allegedly had a gunshot and chop wounds. He is believed to have been mistakenly mobbed and killed by the irate residents. One resident told the news that robbers have been plaguing their community in the last 2 months, stealing a number of motorcycles. "A long time we are set for them," the resident stated, adding that they were reportedly seen attempting to steal 2 motorcycles at a section of Negril known as Negril Spot. The police did not confirm if the men were robbers. "We have the alleged driver in our custody, and he has confirmed that he transported Hendricks and Daly to the community, but he was unable to give any form of information about the 3rd victim," one senior officer told the news. Police identify suspect killed in alleged gun battle in Central Village. The man who was fatally shot during an alleged confrontation with police in Central Village, St. Catherine on Thursday has been identified as 30-year-old Everton MacDonald of East Street in Kingston. The police say he was listed as wanted for shooting with intent. Mr. MacDonald and another man reportedly opened fire on 33-year-old Roderick Beckford of Little Lane in Spanish Town about 11 o'clock in the morning. While fleeing the scene, the gunmen were challenged by a police team. There was an alleged gun battle, and Mr. MacDonald was shot and a Glock pistol with a magazine reportedly taken from him. The other man escaped. Portland, a woman missing last seen in Kingston. 34-year-old Nicola Lindsay of Reach District, Portland, has been missing since Thursday, August 4. She is of dark complexion, stout build, and about 5 feet tall. Reports from the Constant Spring Police are that about 8:30 a.m., Lindsay was last seen at Park Road, Kingston 8, wearing a dark green blouse with green and yellow Jamaican shorts. She has not been heard from since. Anyone knowing the whereabouts of Nicola Lindsay is being asked to contact the Constant Spring Police at 876-924-1421, 119 Police Emergency, or the nearest police station. Manhunt continues for escapees from Ocho Rios lockup. A manhunt is continuing for 4 prisoners who escaped from the Ocho Rios police lockup in St. Anne on Friday morning. The escapees were discovered missing about 1 o'clock during a routine cell check. They are 40-year-old Terrence Harilal of Claremont, St. Anne, who is charged with shooting with intent, and 42-year-old Dennis Colburn of Islington, St. Mary, who is charged with rape. The other men are charged with illegal possession of firearm. They are 22-year-old Javier Grant of Prairie, St. Anne, and 30-year-old Jermaine Rogers of Mile End in Ocho Rios. Senior Superintendent Dwight Powell, head of the St. Anne Police Division, says preliminary investigations indicate that implements were used to cut sections of the metal gates of the cells. He said an intensive investigation is being carried out in relation to their escape. SSP Powell urged anyone with information on the whereabouts of the escapees to contact the police via Crime Stop, the 119 emergency number, or any of its confidential lines. He warned that persons caught sheltering the escapees will be prosecuted.
The initial investigation carried out is indicating that the prisoners cut their way from the cell block and made good their escape. A search was launched for the recapturing of these men, and a manhunt is presently on way with a view to have them recaptured. This is to advise that if anyone knows the whereabouts of these prisoners, we are requesting that they make contact with any of our police confidential lines. Can also call Crime Stop, can call 119. An intensive investigation is presently being carried out by the iProbe on the escape of these prisoners.
2 cops accused of killing Tyler in St. Andrew denied bail. The 2 police officers charged with the murder of a 29-year-old Tyler in Red Hill, St. Andrew, were denied bail on Friday when they appeared in the Gun Court Division of the Kingston and the St. Andrew Parish Court. Constable Purcell Carter and Corporal Miguel Ibanks are to return to court on September 6. When the matter was called up, attorneys John Jacobs and Courtney Rowe, who represent Corporal Ibanks, submitted that their client was on duty when the shooting took place. Attorneys Valerie Nita Robertson and Kimberly Whitaker, who represent Mr. Carter, argued that the description and alias the eyewitness gave are not those of their client. Mr. Carter's defense team also argued that he is not a flight risk as he voluntarily surrendered to the police. The prosecution in opposing bail raised the concern that the policemen could seek to interfere with witnesses. Prior to refusing both applications, Judge Leighton Morris instructed the prosecution to put measures in place to ensure that a witness cannot be interfered with and is protected. The attorneys have signaled that they intend to appeal Mr. Morris's decision. The 2 cops who are assigned to the St. Andrew North Police Division were arrested shortly after the death of Philip Wallace, a resident of Green Glide Close in Red Hills. On July 16, Mr. Wallace was shot while sitting outside a bar in his community. It's alleged that he was killed after refusing to pay the policeman in order not to bring charges against him. NEPA to suspend Windalco's environmental permit following Rio Cobre contamination. The National Environment and Planning Agency is to suspend Windalco's environmental permit and draw down on the full amount of its environmental performance bond following last week's pollution of the Rio Cobre in St. Catherine. NEPA will be meeting with UC Russell Windalco on Monday regarding the penalties. At a news conference Friday afternoon, Peter Knight, Chief Executive Officer of NEPA, confirmed that Windalco's bauxite refinery in Yuatan is the source of the pollution and contaminants that impacted the Rio Cobre. He said the river was contaminated with thousands of liters of harmful trade effluent. Wendalco has been given deadlines to implement several corrective measures, including immediately reducing the volume of trade effluent being held at its effluent holding plant.
The notice of intention will be predicated on A, immediate reduction of the volume of trade effluent being held in the effluent holding pond. B, fast tracking the completion of the effluent holding pond. C, replenishment of the environmental performance bond to the previous amount. And D, restriction on the operationalization of existing environmental permits for mining operations at SML 162 at Schallenberg and the recently granted SML 174 at Edinburgh Castle until the effluent holding pond is completed and commissioned. We have already written to the commercial bank holding the environmental performance bond posted by UC Rosal Wendalco as a condition for the operation of the refinery and the effluent holding pond to recover the full amount in favor of the NRC, the Natural Resources Conservation Authority. Effective today and going forward, the agents will adopt an even more aggressive posture against companies, businesses, and individuals found in breach of permits and licenses, or those taking actions we consider deleterious to the environment and good environmental management and stewardship.
Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.